A very warm welcome to StudyIQ, my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you all are in good. Today is 25th August 2020, and I would like to start today's discussion with this quote by Maxim Gorky. When a work is a pleasure, life is a joy. When a work is a duty, life is slavery. So it is on us to find joy in our work. No one else will come and find joy for you. You have to find it yourself. And I believe most of you are students. So you need to find ways through which you can add cheerfulness to your studies. If you can add that thing, then you will find that it is not a drag, it is not a duty, it is not a slavery, but it is a sheer joy as well as pure pleasure. With this, dear friends, StudyIQ team has designed a smart course. This smart course is for Civil Services Examination. It covers your pre as well as mains examination, and to find out more about it, all you have to do is download our mobile application. Till 31st August 2020, EMI offer is also available. On our table, we have 5 important articles. The first one is about Pakistan and how Pakistan is handling this issue of terrorism. Second one is about taxpayers. Third one is about, it's from Indian Express, and this one is about strategic autonomy, and we are going to learn about strategic autonomy in terms of economy as well as geopolitics or international relations. Then we have one from Times of India, New Age of Reason. Very interesting, very important article. And the last one is about vaccine race. And then we have some news items too. You can download the PDF of today's lecture from my Telegram channel. You can follow me on Facebook as well, dear friends. So let's start our discussion with Pakistan. Now, Pakistan is famous for one thing, and that is terrorism, isn't it? Around the world, if you see terror attack anywhere, you will find its roots somewhere taking you to Pakistan. If Pakistani terrorists or if Pakistani organizations are not involved in it, then as well you will find indirectly they are related, because at some point of time they have provided weapons or training or breeding ground for the top leaders to hide and so many other things. So you can say that a brand of Pakistan that is famous around the world, which is very unfortunate, but that is terrorism. And when it comes to take action against terrorism and terrorist organizations, Pakistan is always taking one step forward and then one step back. That's what Pakistan has been doing. In fact, it is taking one step forward and 2 steps back. That's what I would say. Recently, the country, that is Pakistan, has launched statutory regulatory order. Now, this SRO has a list of names of terrorists like Dawood Ibrahim, Zaki-ur-Rahman Lakwi, and 85 others. SRO also directs Pakistani officials to implement UNSC committee resolutions against these people. Now, you know it very well. In reality, Dawood Ibrahim has been living there for a very long period of time. RNAW has said this thing many times to Pakistan. The whole country of India knows this thing, but then as well you find that Pakistan is taking or doing nothing about it at all. UNSC and Interpol information has also provided 5 Pakistani passports as well as 3 Karachi addresses that belongs to Dawood Ibrahim. But Pakistan's foreign ministry says that we do not accept this fact, or this SRO did not imply an admission that he, that is Dawood Ibrahim, lives in Pakistan. What happened with Osama bin Laden? The whole world was looking for Osama bin Laden in Afghanistan and in Sudan and other countries, but he was found in Pakistan and he was living there for a very long period of time. I'm sure you have watched that film called Zero Dark 30. Now, Pakistan is required to align its domestic terror listing with those issued by UNSC's ISIL and Al-Qaeda Sanctions Committee, that is under UNSC resolutions 1267, 1989, 2253. But so far, what Pakistan has done, or what it has been doing, is when you will provide list to Pakistan, and if Pakistan will find that there is no way out, what it will do, it will put these people or few of them behind the bars, and then they will get bail, and then they will come out again. Then Pakistan will say that we have independent judiciary, we cannot do anything about judiciary. Then when it looks like that there will be some sort of covert operation to hunt these people down, then Pakistan will put them again behind the bars. And when you are putting this big terrorist behind the bars like Hafiz Saeed and Masood Azhar, then what you are doing is you are basically providing them official protection. Because when you are in jail, when you are guarded, right, your jails are guarded, so no one can go there and conduct military operation like USA did with Osama bin Laden. So this gives them, lifeline. This gives them, these people, Hafiz Saeed and Masood Azhar type of people, they get protection from the government. And you have this ISI, that is inter-service intelligence. It has always used this sort of rogue people as proxies. Pakistani military has used these proxies to create problems for a country like India. And I feel sorry for the people of Pakistan as well, because one incident that created a bit of revolution in Pakistan was when 200 plus kids were killed in a terror attack in a school. That was a big thing. And the only people who can change a situation in Pakistan is Pakistani youngsters and the citizens of Pakistan. They have suffered from this label of terrorism. They have suffered because of this ruling elites have always misused this poverty, and they have misused religion, and then they are spreading this hate and other things. So if we want to see a change in Pakistan, then if the world wants to see it, and if Pakistani people, if they want to see a change, then they have to take an action. They have to create revolution in their country. They have to ask for more clean, legit politicians, more clean and legit professional army personnel. The biggest worry for India as well as other countries is that what will happen when you will have Hafiz Saeed type of people becoming army chief of Pakistan. At present, it is said that this terrorist groups are controlled by army. But what will happen when they will become independent? What will happen when they will take everything in their hands and then they will start ruling the nation? Right? Because this Hafiz Saeed and Masood Azhar, they support few political parties. They have big charity organizations, and there are so many people. They consider these people as like Masiha, or they consider these people as savior, like they are helping them. But actually what they are doing is they are collecting funds from various different parts of the world. They are doing this charity work that is just a front business. Behind that thing, they are recruiting people, and they are sending these people to gallows. Regardless of which list Pakistan places any of the terrorists named, and when it did so, the big question is, what about investigation? What about prosecuting them? What about apprehending them? These are the big questions that we need to ask. And this is a pattern that you will, if you have just started reading current affairs, then you will find in future this pattern, that when it comes to FATF plenary session, whenever you have this meeting of FATF, Financial Action Task Force, big meeting, this plenary session in which this FATF decides whether this country, or if any particular country should be kept in grey list, or if it is already in grey list, whether we should put it in a more severe blacklist. When this sort of decision making body gathers up, or when the meeting is coming up, at that point of time Pakistan comes into action. It will do a little bit of patchwork, and then when everything is settled, then it will get back to its own core business. So India has said this thing many times, but unfortunately FATF has a very lengthy procedure to follow, and the whole world knows about this thing. But then as well, because of this procedure and so-called formal bureaucracy, things are not moving in that speed, and that is killing so many people in our country as well as around the world, and so many people in Pakistan as well. So I'm not sure whether Pakistan will take any serious action, but I think the world should unite together and take some serious action, because you have countries like China who still believe in good terrorism and bad terrorism. China has always protected Pakistan. Right? If you provide solid evidence to Pakistan and to China and to the world, then as well China will say that no, that is not terrorism, that is because of this Kashmir thing that is going on. Can you believe this thing? So We have countries like China, and there are some other countries as well. They believe in good terrorism and bad terrorism, and that's a very bad thing for the whole. That's a very sad news for the whole world. Moving on to next item, but before that, please make sure that you share this lecture with other students. Hit the like button if you have learned something from today's discussion. And please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you have already subscribed, then please ask 3 more students to join StudyIQ Education. The challenge of catching elusive taxpayers. We are going through this COVID-19 pandemic since March, isn't it? Or last week of March. Since then, it's been what? April, May, June, July, August. It's been 5 full months of COVID-19 terror. So because of this COVID-19, we were forced to do a lockdown. This lockdown has devastated our economy. So this is going to impact our national income. National income is going to go down. So many people have lost their jobs. Businesses are not doing that big transactions these days. Our expenses have gone up. Medical expenses have gone up. So all these things are going to create big holes in our pocket. Fiscal deficit is going to go up for sure. And there are other expenditures that we have to do, whether we like it or not. So things are going to be very tight for the government of India. So the only option as per this article is to try and collect more taxes. Now there are 2 ways of doing it, predominantly speaking. First is by increasing tax rate. Now you cannot do this thing in this scenario. The other is you can widen the tax base. That means adding more people or making sure that more people pay their right honest tax. And this is one of the main reasons why Prime Minister unveiled income tax reforms. During this 15th August Independence Day speech, he talked about a faceless, painless, seamless system of tax collection. Now this system is going to rely on software, artificial intelligence, and it is going to rely on computers or technology to collect a tax and to do assessment and other things. I think assessment will start from, if you have any appeal or any sort of particular thing, then that will start from, online assessment will start from September 2020. Now Prime Minister also provided us with this fact that in a country of 1.35 billion people, we have just 15 million people who are paying tax. So out of 135 crore people, only 1.5 crore, right? 1 crore 50 lakh people are paying their taxes. Can you believe this thing? We have talked about this thing early on as well. Remember that if you visit a posh area in your city, then you will find thousands of people living in that particular posh area, and you will find that their minimum income is per year income is more than 1 crore. But if you go through their documents, they are just showing that they are making 5 lakhs or 10 lakhs or maybe max 15 lakhs rupees. That's it. And they're paying a very small amount of tax. The number of tax filers have gone up, but taxpayers number has dropped down. Taxpayers and tax filers, there is a difference. Like if you are earning less than 5 lakh rupees per year, you can file your tax, but then you will say that you are earning less than 5, so you get exemption. You don't pay anything at all. So government has your data, you are filing your returns, but you are not paying any tax because you have been given exemption. But there are a few people, they make more money, but they show less, and they are not paying the right amount. And so eventually the person who will pay tax, that is a taxpayer. So in our country, we have just 1.5 million people who are paying their taxes. There are some 5.5 crore people who are filing their returns, and out of that we have just 1.5 crore people who are actually paying their tax. Now when it comes to paying their tax, we know that there are so many well-to-do people, they don't pay their honest tax, and this is very strange that our population has gone up. In last 6 years we have introduced so many rules and regulations and so many laws, but then as well we find this sort of situation. This article talks about 2 categories of well-to-do people or well-off people, right? One is those who file their tax returns, and the second one, this category is a category in which they don't pay anything at all. And there is a report of 2016 which says that 10% of Indian population or Indians earned 55% of nation's income. 10% earning 55% of nation's income. But then they are not paying their right tax. And we are not counting black money in this 55%. Mind you, this 55% does not cover black money. If this well-to-do people, if they pay their honest tax, then tax to GDP ratio will touch 18%. And then you add direct taxes of corporate tax and other things, then this figure can touch 20%. So one thing is clear, that a lot of taxes are not paid out of white incomes and none from the black incomes. And this is very unfortunate. Demonetization. Remember, it was a big thing, and it was introduced when this was introduced, this demonetization. At that point of time, we believed that every black penny will be converted into white and we will get more wealth, and then after that there will be no generation of black money. But see, we are back to normal now. And I think after this demonetization effect was over, effect in the sense this whole drive was over, in like 4 or 5 months, things were again back to normal. People started staking 2,000 and new 5,000 rupees notes. So many people, they have converted their money. Of course, cases are going on against so many people, but we don't have that much staff. We don't have that many personnel who can do this sort of big job. And there are so many people who are not paying their tax. So it's nearly impossible with the people that we have that we can catch each and every single person. No doubt government is doing its level best. Government came out with so many new laws, and government came out with this in 2014 when this Modi government was formed. In first week itself, it set up a special investigation team under Supreme Court's order to bring back black money from abroad, but we don't find big results of this thing. And more than 23,000 high net worth individuals, they have left our country in last 5 years. So all this wealth is abroad at present. It's very embarrassing for our country when CEO of Dassault Aviation, when our defense minister was there in France to receive the first Rafale fighter jet. At that point of time, during his speech, CEO of Dassault Aviation said that India should not terrorize them with its tax and custom rules. He was talking about these high net worth individuals. The government is able to trust neither the tax department officials nor the rich. If you hang out with people who are working in revenue services, or if you know some CAs, chartered accountants and other people who are in this business of tax paying and tax and everything, then you can ask them, right? And they will vouch for it that the biggest corruption, or one of the biggest, I'm not saying the biggest, but one of the biggest corruption that you find is in revenue services. And this is the reason why government is not able to trust tax officials, as well as it cannot trust the rich people. So what government is doing now, it is deploying computers. But this article is saying a very strange thing, that the biggest worry is that this software can be manipulated as well. So if this is going to take place, then there is no point of engaging with computers and leaving people behind, because these people are going to stay around computers, and they can, if this report is right, and if they can manipulate a software, then this is going to be a futile exercise. A few thousand officers have to deal with lakhs of cases. Is it possible for this officers to decipher what chartered accountants have done for months? You know, when chartered accountants, means many businesses, they have this sort of chartered accountants who will help them save their money. So this is a big planning. You know, a huge amount of energy is invested in making things appear that your costs are high, your revenue is less, and your costs are high. And then you expect in few hours that officers will crack it down. That's not possible at all. So these are the things that are going on. So the only answer is, right, we have to find ways through which we can expand our tax base. And for that, I think one thing is tax rate is also too high. I'm not saying that tax rate is high, that is an excuse for people not to pay tax, but government should come out with reasonable tax rate, and then I'm sure many people will pay their tax amount. So that's basically everything about it. Now let's move on to the next one. This one is about strategic autonomy. Recently, S. Jaishankar, who is our foreign minister, he made his remarks at the ASEAN India network of think tanks. He said that he talked about India's new quest for strategic autonomy. And he also talked about Atmanirbhar Bharat. Now, Prime Minister Modi as well talked about Atmanirbhar Bharat. So the world is thinking that is India going to close its doors for foreign investment, for foreign companies? Is India decoupling itself from this global value chain as well as supply chain and global economy? The answer is, of course, a big no. Atmanirbhar Bharat, as per Modi ji, he underlined Atmanirbhar Bharat during his Independence Day speech, and he said that it is India's determination to seek deeper global economic engagement. And it is not about closing doors. In fact, it is about looking inwards. It is about recognizing India's potential, that India can produce good quality of products, high technology products in India, and it can cater to the world. You can also say that India is trying to engage with Western world because USA and so many other countries, they are skeptical about China's behavior, and they are not happy with China because what happened during COVID-19 pandemic, when USA realized that it was heavily dependent on China when it comes to medical essentials like PPE kits and masks were also imported from China. But when this COVID-19 thing was, when it just started at that point of time, when USA said that we need this many masks and this many COVID-19 kits, at that point of time China said that we cannot give it to you right now. First of all, we have to look after our own back, and then we can give it to you. And this was an eye opener for USA. So many countries are getting rid of Chinese supply chains, or they are reducing their dependence on one particular supply chain. So they are diversifying their supply chains, and this is what India wants to do. India wants to grab this opportunity, and India wants to produce things for India as well as for the world. Many countries, they want to shorten their global supply chain. If you can make a car in your country, then why to give it to someone else to do it? So that's what countries are doing now. So it's not protectionism. It's not closing doors and creating walls. It is more about knocking inwards, or looking inwards, to be precise, to look at your potential, to find your potential and to work on it. That's what Atmanirbhar is all about. This is one of the most important thing for you to understand, because you may find a question on Atmanirbhar. You may find an essay topic on Atmanirbhar Bharat. Now, Minister of External Affairs has talked about Soviet Union era, in which USA was the only, when this post-Soviet Union era after 1991, USA was the only king, or USA was the only country that was the most powerful country. So there was a phase of unilateralism, only one country ruling, or the most powerful country. And we were in a very bad situation at that point of time, because in early 1990s, Bill Clinton administration used to believe that Kashmir dispute is something that USA should step in. And Bill Clinton was, skeptical about this nuclear flashpoint. He used to believe, his government used to believe that one day we will find a nuclear war in South Asia between India and Pakistan because of this Kashmir. So his whole team was forcing India to, they were basically trying to step in and sort out things between India and Pakistan. And India was heavily engaged with USA, convincing USA that nothing like that will happen. We are not going to use nuclear weapons. And we tried our level best. So for nearly 2 decades, we were talking about this thing. This thing was one of the most important thing when it comes to discussion with USA. But finally, George W. Bush government came in, and his government started with a fresh thinking. And this is followed by Mr. Obama as well as Mr. Trump's administration, that they don't want to step into Kashmir, and they are not that much worried about this nuclear war at present. So our whole focus was taken away by USA at that point of time, and because of that thing, we paid little attention to this gathering challenges from China. And today we know that we are suffering because of this thing, because we were trying to make sure that USA does not make a Kashmir topic a big international topic. But now China is doing that thing. Now USA is not doing that thing, but China is not even missing a single opportunity to talk about Kashmir at United Nations Security Council. And this latest aggression in eastern Ladakh is a proof as well that China wants to interfere here. China wants to create pressure on us. And so today's strategic autonomy from international relations point of view, we want to keep good relations with the USA, with Western world, with Australia, with Japan, and we want to make sure that China is left alone. And when it comes to economical autonomy, strategic autonomy from economic point of view, what we want to achieve is we want to do more trade, we want to create more things for the world so that we can generate wealth and we can protect ourselves. So that's what our big plan is. So here, when S. Jaishankar is talking about strategic autonomy, he's not just talking from geopolitics point of view. It's not just geopolitics. Geopolitics is there, but with that we need economical strategic autonomy as well. And our trade deficit with China has gone up too. In 2019, it was $55 billion, and this is one of the main reasons why we never joined RCEP. Okay, so now India is trying to, create strong security partnership as well as economic partnership with all these three, or this Western world, or these countries, right? When I say not three, but three countries are like USA, Japan, and Australia, and Europe is a continent. So a union, a continent. European Union is a sort of group of 27 countries, and Europe is a continent, of course. But we want to do more business as well as security partnership. So we are thinking, we are doing this thing, both these things, keeping in mind strategic autonomy, that our independence, we don't want to compromise with our independence. We have never did, and we will never. That's what India is trying to do. New age of reason. Now, science, technology, right? We have used science and technology for creating things, and we have created so many things around us. But this is the time when we need to think that just creation is not enough. Science is not just for creating new tools and products. It should also have this touch of value. It should also have a higher purpose, because this climate change thing is going on, and one of the main reasons is because of science and technology, right? We are using this fossil fuel and so many other things, and because of that thing we have destroyed our climate. We have nearly destroyed our earth or ecosystem, and because of this thing we are finding coronavirus and other sort of if you see last 3-4 pandemics, then you will find they have generated, their roots are from wildlife. When these viruses are limited in that wildlife boundary, they are okay. They are not creating any sort of disturbances. But when you remove layers, when few species, when they are gone, then this virus is free, and then it enters into human world, and then we know what happens. So we need a new age of enlightenment. We need we can use technology, we can use science, that's fine, but we have to make sure that it is always wrapped up with values as well as higher purpose. Whether it is a broader climate change or its immediate manifestations like a pandemic or the California wildfires or Amphan super cyclone, cyclonic storm which caused extensive damage in Bengal in May, several roots of environmental crisis lie in technocratic attitude towards nature, science and progress. So science will stumble. This is a very interesting line here, that science will stumble if it is without any sort of ethical guidance. And that's what we learn from nuclear weapons and other sort of weapons, right? It's good that you have achieved it scientifically. These are the things that we can do, but it's not always necessary that we need to do those things. Last one is about this politics over vaccine race. There is a rat race that is going on when it comes to uh, vaccine creation for this COVID-19. It reminds us of a space race of 1960s between Soviet Union and USA. The first nation to produce an effective vaccine is of course going to protect its people, and it is going to get back to normal as quickly as possible. But we have to understand this fact as well, that at present we don't have any proper vaccine, and governments around the world, they have failed when it comes to controlling this spread of COVID-19 virus. So everyone is desperate, every country is desperate, but we have to understand that at present things are more supported by politics than science. When it comes to a quest for virus, then there is more politics is going on rather than science. Or if you compare science and politics, then you find that politics has taken a front seat in finding this virus. And see, Vladimir Putin came out with this new medicine or vaccine. Stick your answer in the comment section. This is a question for you. Can you give me the name of the vaccine that has been claimed by Russia, that they have launched a vaccine for COVID-19? So give me the name of that vaccine. Stick your answer in the comment section. Now, Donald Trump, of course, wants a working vaccine before election. China has started vaccinating thousands of people, but we don't know whether it is good or bad. We don't know anything about it, or we don't know much about it, to be honest. So autocratic countries like Russia, China, they can go for this sort of things. They can jump the gun and they can claim success. But free world, democratic countries like India and other nations, right? We need to follow science. We need to make sure that we have to allow science to take over. We have to allow science to take its own time to come out with a best possible vaccine or medicine for this coronavirus. And at present, it looks like this USA's Moderna as well as UK's Oxford University Jenner Institute's adenovirus variety vaccine will work because they are quite ahead of others, and the third phase will get over soon. When I say soon, I'm talking about it may take another 6 months max for this whole trial to get over, and after that only we can say whether this is a good one or this are good one or not that good vaccine. So realistically, it will take a few more months for us to develop a vaccine, and this is the right time for us to plan that how we are going to distribute this vaccine. If let's hope that we will get it as quickly as possible. So if let's say if we get it next month, then how we are going to make sure that each and everyone will get this vaccine on time. India is lucky that we have world's largest vaccine manufacturer in our country, but our big challenge is we have to inoculate more than 100 crore people. So we need to have a plan now rather than later on. These are a few news items. I want you guys to go through it. I have one news item that I want you guys to pay attention to, and this one is about Narmada Shankar Dave. He is also known as Narmad, very famous in Gujarat, and the reason why we are discussing is because it is his 187th birth anniversary. Prime Minister tweeted about Narmad, and he said that the poet who is considered to be the founder of modern Gujarati literature introduced his fearlessness and creativity through a magazine called Dandiyo. So Dandiyo was a magazine by Narmad, and today is also World Gujarati Language Day. So that's everything from my side. Thank you very much for watching this video. God bless you all. Jai Hind.